What a difference a day makes. As I write this message, I've been reflecting upon the most wonderful news. Jesus is alive. Now, we've been celebrating that amazing event over this Easter weekend. For some, it seems like the long weekend has been a lovely time to step aside from the busyness of life and simply enjoy time out, perhaps with family or travelling away or whatever you may have done. For others, it has given us the opportunity to reflect upon the goodness of God, and it's been a wonderful time to celebrate Jesus and consider what a difference this good news makes in our lives. The message of the death and the resurrection of Jesus is a very powerful one. Out of his pain and suffering, new life is birthed. The resurrection of Jesus brings hope to a world which in itself has no hope. It brings light to a world which sadly seems to be becoming darker and darker. The resurrection displays truth as victorious, and it gives understanding and insight into real life. As I read through the eyewitness accounts of the resurrection, raw truth just leaps from those pages. Even though Jesus had been preparing his followers for what was about to happen, they were still very much unprepared. In fact, they had no idea about what was going on, what was about to happen. They just couldn't grasp it at all. On Easter Day, we remember the empty tomb, and we remember that Jesus is alive. We're reminded of it. We celebrate it. We read about some of the women who were followers of Jesus, hopping out of bed very early before the sun came up so that they could go to the tomb to complete the task of the preparation of the body of Jesus. Upon their arrival in that cemetery, they made the most amazing discovery. The tomb was empty. Frankly, I cannot begin to imagine the raw emotions that these women were about to experience or were experiencing. They were deeply distressed because of all that they had seen and all that they had heard, because they were eyewitnesses to all that had happened to Jesus over the last few days. Jesus was dead. They saw his body. They saw him buried. That was it. It's all over. Or is it? And at the tomb, they found two angels sitting where the body had been. And according to Luke, they asked, "Why are you looking for the living amongst the dead?" And as Mary Magdalene turned to go, she saw someone whom she assumed was the gardener just behind her. She spoke to him, not realizing that this was Jesus himself. Jesus said to her, "Who are you looking for?" Let me just stop and reflect upon that point for just a moment. Who are you looking for? He asked. Not what are you looking for? Who are you looking for? You see, Mary was looking for a dead body. She didn't realize that she was actually speaking with Jesus himself. It had all changed. She thought that this stranger was the gardener, and so she asked if he had moved the body. "If you have taken him, can you please tell me where you have put him, so that I can do what I have come to do?" she said. Jesus simply said, "Mary." While she didn't recognize the face of Jesus, she knew his voice. "Teacher," she replied. Again, I can't begin to imagine the raw emotions of that particular moment. He is alive. He's risen from the dead. The eyewitness accounts all point to a group of people who had no expectation of this ever happening, even though Jesus had told them that it would. They just didn't understand what was going on. Simply, they didn't get it. Mary Magdalene is depicted in the scriptures as being there, as witnessing all that had happened. But she stayed in the background. She was there watching it all unfold. Even as they laid the body of Jesus in the tomb, Matthew 27 records, she was there, sitting across from that tomb, watching. She knew what had happened. And so here she is outside of the tomb in the garden when Jesus calls her by name. And let me say, it all changed. Jesus calls us by name too. Revelation 3:20 says, "Behold, I stand at the door and knock." That is the door to your heart. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come in and share with them. Today I'm going to encourage you to get into the Word of God and to speak to Jesus and to spend time with him so that you too can recognise his voice. For you, then life will never be the same again because we know Jesus. I trust that you have a wonderful week, and let me urge you to get into the Word so that the Word can get into you. Be blessed.